Hello, I hope you're well. Just like everybody else, I'm having to work from home at the moment, but it's not going to stop me putting out some breakdowns. So let's crack on. Before the season was put on hold, Mikel Arteta had just completed his 15th match as Arsenal's head coach. In this breakdown special, we're going to be taking a closer look at what changes the Spaniard has inspired. We've all seen it with our own eyes. There's no disputing that Arsenal's players have been re-energised by their new head coach. Transformed from flat to fervent. In simple terms, they're working much harder. Under Unai Emery, the players seem to have lost a bit of focus when it came to pressing, standing off their men. We saw a fair amount of passiveness creep into their game, making Arsenal too easy to play against. The new man in charge immediately addressed that issue, demanding that his players close down opponents in unison, pressurising them in an aggressive but coordinated way, and this immediately lifted those involved and the fans too. It's not always possible to press, but when the Gunners have done it under Arteta, it's usually been hostile in its nature. Playing with this mentality appears to be a non-negotiable that's been well received in the dressing room. The players have certainly shown more appetite to push themselves physically since the new gaffer came in to stay part of the Spaniards' plans. Individuals now know they have to be very fit and willing to run hard. The stats confirm our eyes aren't deceiving us too. Playing at a faster tempo, Arteta's Arsenal do cover more ground than they did earlier on in the campaign, running an extra 1.66 kilometres per game. This, in theory, should make them tougher opponents to face. One of Arsenal's weak spots in recent seasons has been the lack of a sturdy positional framework, but that's something Arteta worked on right from the off. The Gunners' pattern of play and team identity is much clearer to see. While his predecessor often tailored formations to match an opponent's style, Arteta has been set on a 4-2-3-1 with a focus on not being pulled out of shape too often. This is a good example of the team's new rotational movement. The left back often pushes on, Xhaka props up at left back, and then the right back is tucked inside. This shifting shape ensures there are no holes and that the system is robust even if possession is lost. This is one of Arteta's favourite patterns of play. You can see 5 lanes of attack at the outset, and thanks to good movement plus clever angles being created, Xhaka is released as the spare man out on the left. From there, he's got options in the box, including Martinelli, who joins in as a second striker. This passage is the kind of identity the head coach wants. Conceding 2 or more goals in 10 of the 15 matches that preceded his arrival, Arteta knew that tightening up Arsenal's off-the-ball work was a huge priority. In a short space of time, I think we've seen tremendous improvements. Performing in a more structured shape that's less vulnerable to counter-attacks, the Gunners have kept opponents at arm's length far more comfortably under Arteta. They've only faced 5 or more shots on target in 30% of Premier League games. This compared to 61% in the opening 18 matches. I always think interceptions are also a useful gauge and a real sign of a solid tactical shape. Interestingly, they're up by a sizable margin too. Instead of needing at least 2 goals to win a match, Arsenal's improved resilience has eased the pressure on their front men. 7 clean sheets from 15 matches in all competitions, up from 1 in the previous 15, speaks volumes. And thanks to better game management and resolute defending, the team's now conceding less than a goal a game under the new regime. Arsenal have a long-standing tradition of giving young players a chance to shine, and it's great to see our 38-year-old head coach staying true to those principles. His trust in the kids has been evident since day one. Starting 12 of Arteta's 15 games in charge, the Spaniard has shown great faith in Bukayo Saka as a left-back. and the talented teenager has grabbed that opportunity with both hands, delivering 4 excellent assists. Looking very much at home on the big stage and no doubt encouraged by the manager's enormous confidence in him, 18-year-old Xhaka has been nothing short of a revelation. After shining in the cup competitions, Gabriel Martinelli enjoyed a run of Premier League games in Aubameyang's absence, scoring twice. Trusted to stay on the pitch against Chelsea, even with 10 men, the Brazilian delivered for Arteta and the fans with one of the best goals you'll see all season. When he's been fit to play, the head coach has also been keen to use Reiss Nelson too, and after scoring against Leeds in the FA Cup, he conjured up a pair of fantastic assists at Portsmouth. The pace and width he supplies down the right seems tailor-made for Arteta's style. And before this enforced break, it was bold of the man in charge to select Idi Nketiah over Alexandre Lacazette. Using youngsters is something he's more than prepared to do. A number of experienced players looked pretty low on confidence prior to Arteta's arrival, but starting with a clean slate, the new man has done a fine job of restoring some of that lost self-belief. Mesut Ozil had been out of the side, but his former teammate recognised the need to incorporate the classy German, who's performed really well since Christmas, showing more zip, positivity and determination. The playmaker has looked happier on the pitch. Record signing Nicolas Pepe has been more influential too. He was outstanding in the vital 2-0 win at home to Manchester United, a breakthrough performance, and he's certainly had more of a spring in his step. Arteta wants to use Lucas Torreira as a defensive midfielder rather than as a box-to-box man, and you could see the Uruguayan responded well to that decision. His confidence returned immediately. Also in midfield, Dani Ceballos has picked up his form under the new boss. Off the ball, his positioning has been more intelligent, and because he's been afforded a run of games, the quality Ceballos displayed early on in his loan spell has returned. Arteta will also be thrilled with the way Shkodran Mustafi has performed. Since making a mistake at Chelsea, the German has played consistently well. It's great to see these senior players back on song. It was a brave call to hand Mikel Arteta his first job in management, but there's no doubt he's made a highly impressive start. He arrived with a steely desire to drive up standards on and off the pitch, and the good habits that he's fostered are having a positive impact on the players. There's more spirit, greater vibrancy, less vulnerability, and the style of football is coming together nicely too. The Gunners remain a work in progress, but in the space of just 15 games, I think really positive strides have been made. That's it from me for now. There will be more breakdowns to come. Please do remember though, stay at home and save lives.